video about the benefits of forgiveness and how to improve your overall health and state of well-being by letting go of the past in acceptance and forgiveness. I'll share with you how you can approach this, and I strongly encourage you to listen to the why and then to go through the how, even if you feel reluctant to do so, because not letting go of our grievance and our hard feelings affects us much worse than we think. It affects our moods, focus, creativity, discipline, sleep, and relationships. And we end up paying for what happened, not the person that hurt us. You want to think about emotional injury kind of like a snake bite. And if you ever got bitten by a snake, you know your first thought was to get the venom from the bite out of your body so that it wouldn't have time to affect you and you wouldn't risk getting sick or die from it. You wouldn't take your time to stop and try to revenge the snake by hitting it with a rock or beating it with a stick before going to the hospital. Now apply the same logic to emotional wounds and you will see why it's a bad idea to hold on to hurt and grievance. Yet this is exactly what most of us do, and we end up bitter and resentful with walls around our hearts, unable to move forward and heal. And that's because we get forgiveness backwards and we think that it's something that we need to do for the sake of the other person, when really it's something that we ought to be doing for the sake of ourselves. Now, of course, if you're in a bad situation right now, the first thing you need to do is to pull away from it so that you don't continue to get hurt. And this can be anything from breaking up with someone, moving to another city, or just going for a walk to calm yourself. And then reflect on what happened and learn from it. But don't place yourself in a constant state of anger. This will not protect you, it will exhaust you. And no matter what happened, and I know some of the awful, devastating and destructive things we sometimes put each other through, but no matter what, we can't change the past. But we have a chance to change how we feel right now and the trajectories of our future. Don't place yourself in a constant state of vindictiveness either. Revenge is very unlikely to make you feel better. It's much more likely to make you feel empty or worn out. And that's because overcoming pain is an inner process, not an outer one. And naturally, we want the court of law to do its thing if there's been a crime committed, to prevent it from ever happening again. But when we forgive, we're really just trying to pick up the pieces of our lives and make space for something new and beautiful to come in. We're not pardoning someone from what they've done. And we're not saying that it's okay what happened. It's not. And it won't ever be, but we still need to let it go. And if you would like to know how to do this, keep watching. But first, please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're getting any value from this content. Thank you. To forgive and let go of the past, you first need to get the poison out of your body. Learn from what happened and then allow for something new and beautiful to grow instead. Like wisdom, creativity, joy and excitement. You can talk to friends and family about what happened, but this won't always be enough. Your friends no doubt love you and they mean so well, but it's easier to be honest about what happened when you're by yourself, or you're seeing a therapist that's both objective and kind. Journaling about what happened is a great tool because it lets the hurt out, but it's often more effective to communicate your pain as directly as possible to the person that hurt you. But don't just pick up the phone and call the person to share your thoughts. What you want to do is to sit down and write a letter instead, because conversations can very easily derail and become very emotional. And the other person might be caught completely off guard and become defensive, and one word might take the other and become hurtful, so that instead of being vulnerable and expressing your grief, you both just end up shouting and yelling, and this only adds to your grief and anger. And this is the opposite of what you need. And please comment below, are you mostly in grief or are you in anger when you think about hurtful situations from your past? And then sit down and write a letter and address it to the person that hurt you and let it all out. Be specific and don't be afraid to go into detail, not to be petty, but because people don't always know what they've done wrong. And you want to start out by writing a rough draft and allow yourself to be unfiltered and express your anger. Talk about anything that's on your mind, the lies, the betrayal, the emotional abuse, or whatever comes up, and be as brutal as you need to be. And then rewrite it and choose more nuanced words. Not to be polite, but because choosing the right words means that you get to be accurate about what happened. And this will help you heal because you learn things about yourself that you didn't know, like how you handle conflict or how you react when you're under pressure. And you'll be able to better understand yourself and the relationship that went wrong after that, and why this affected you so much. This part is crucial in improving our health and our happiness because it allows us to grow from the pain that we've been through, instead of just having to go through it and finding no meaning or purpose in it. Not because there's ever any direct meaning in suffering, but because we as human beings are able to discover and attach meaning to painful experiences. And getting your thoughts down on paper will help you do that, because you're better able to stay in control of your logic and your intelligence, your empathy and wits, and maybe even your humor to some degree. So you may not ever want to send a letter, and that's okay, because when we have been severely hurt, this is often by someone that we loved and trusted. So the stakes of putting ourselves out there, they're really still high. And while you may have grown from what happened, the other person may still be the same and unwilling to apologize or even to acknowledge your pain by taking the time to respond to your letter, or even having enough respect to even want to read the letter. And when you decide whether to send it or not, you have to prepare for that outcome. And whatever happens, you need to still be willing to do it for your own sake. It's not easy, but keep in mind that we're doing it to feel better. Emotional disease is similar to somatic disease in the sense that if you don't have time to deal with it right now, it rarely goes away by itself, but it comes back to haunt you later. And that's why you need to take the time to process these things. It's not a decision made once, and you have to be mindful of recurring angry thoughts. And when they occur, you'll have to do a pattern interrupt and to actively remind yourself that you choose to forgive. And you do that because you want to feel better and you want to regain trust in others and be less guarded. And you can't be, because going forward, you know that you will be wiser and you're better at navigating difficult situations because of the lessons you've learned and how you've grown from the experience. And what I like to do to replace my angry thoughts when I catch myself having one is to count down from 5 in my head and say this instead: I will not let this rob me of my precious life. I forgive and I let go. And also I might pray, forgive us, Father, for we don't know what we do. I like this small prayer because it reminds me that we really don't always know what we do. And the ones that hurt us probably aren't deliberately trying to do that. And also, and this is important, it reminds me that whatever happens, I am also always responsible and accountable for my life. And this is not a heavy duty, it's a gift, because it sets us free to make better life decisions going forward, and then to go out and make the most of this precious life. And if you would like to know more about forgiveness, I have a video where I speak about how we forgive ourselves, and this is coming up right here. Thank you so much for watching. I have faith in you, I believe in you, and I will see you in my next video. Peace.